So I guess, this is like so many things. It's not just in financial services where the lower income you are, the more you pay for basic goods and services, whether it's medical, pharmacy items or groceries or transportation. The less money you have, the more you pay. Sort of the poor pay more. And I read, recently an estimate that low-income people, on average in this country, spend $1 out of every 10 they earn just for financial services.
That's unbelievable.
And I think, this explains very much why that's happening, where you have people who are, very much attracted to the tax refund loan because it has this instant money appeal to it. And yet, maybe if people thought through the fact it's a loan and that they could get their refund in full just a few days later, do you think people would make a different choice?
I think a lot of people would. I mean, I know if somebody told me I can have $800 today or I can have $1,200 in 5 days, I'd probably wait 5 days to try to get that full $1,200.
But if you're desperate for that cash, they're ready to exploit you for that.
Take that huge chunk out before it gets back to you.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk a little bit about who these actors are. You said that, the tax preparers are the brokers and that they're these lenders, some of the largest lenders. Let's talk a little bit about who these lenders are.
The largest one that makes the largest number of these loans throughout the country is HSBC Bank. They bought the operation from Household Finance a few years ago. When those two banks merged together, HSBC took over this tax refund loan business from them.
And so they make the sort of more than half of the country's tax refund loans. Who are the other big banks out there that make these loans?
The other big banks would be Santa Barbara Bank and Trust, which is in Santa Barbara, California, and Republic Bank and Trust, which is in Louisville, Kentucky. Bank One, which is now part of JP Morgan Chase, also makes a good number of these loans, but those first three are kind of the biggest: HSBC, Santa Barbara, and Republic.
And what these banks have in common is that they're all national banks. And that means that because of loopholes in the law, or I would say, really problematic overreaching by the federal regulators, they don't have to comply with our state consumer protection laws, like you were saying before. So the fact that we've got a ceiling on how much can be charged on small loans of 25% doesn't get in their way. They just run roughshod over it and circumvent our own state law.
Right, and by that, they can make millions and billions of dollars. There was, in 2004, there was something like $1.4 or $1.6 billion in fees collected by these banks through filing these taxes and arranging these tax refund loans.
So, what does this mean for communities? I mean, I think it's pretty clear that this is taking a big bite out of the pockets of working people and low-income people. Is there any implications of tax refund loans for neighborhoods?
Yeah, most certainly. We've done a lot of research over the last few years to find out where these loans are being made. And there's certain neighborhoods throughout the city that get much harder hit than others. And those communities are predominantly lower income. They're predominantly non-white neighborhoods. If you think about Brownsville, that's $2.6 million in Brownsville loans. Neighborhoods like Brownsville, East New York, Morrisania in the Bronx, and Morris Heights in the Bronx, Flatbush in Brooklyn, those all lost over $2 million in 2004. Over $2 million in each of those neighborhoods was siphoned out through these high-cost tax refund loans.
So we have neighborhoods that are some of the lowest income, certainly in the city, and by some measurement, some of the lowest income communities in the country that are getting gouged in the order of $2.6 or $2.2 million. $11.5 million are coming out of just 5 communities in New York City, looking at the South Bronx and parts of Central and East Brooklyn in particular, for these loan products. And the map that the viewers saw before showed New York City and showed that the South Bronx, for example, has an incredibly high concentration of these loans. What's the percentage of tax filers that have a tax refund anticipation loan, as they're called in the industry, in the South Bronx?
In the South Bronx, in a lot of the neighborhoods there, 1 out of every 4 tax returns filed had a tax refund loan attached to it. That means 1 out of every 4 people filing taxes with the IRS in those neighborhoods got their money back through one of these tax refund loans.
Okay, so you and I know, because we've talked to people at some of the financial institutions responsible for these loans, that they would say, that's because people in the South Bronx want these loans. They need these loans. We don't target. What do you say to the denial of the industry that targeting is going on?
Well, among other things, you can just think about it in terms of why does it have to be so high cost? Even if there is a demand for it, if you step back and think about how risky these loans are, they already know how much money's coming back from the IRS. You have a pretty good baseline of what money's coming. And so there's no reason that they have to be charging interest rates that are up to 700%.
And so the idea is that this is what's called a secured loan. There's collateral, and the collateral is this refund that people are going to get, or their earned income tax credits. And the more secured the loan, the less risky it is to the lender. So theoretically, it should be less expensive to the borrower.
Right.
So how do they justify the high cost?
How do they justify it? They really can't. They just say that it's a risky loan, but have no real. We've seen anyway no real backup to why it has to be that high cost.
So let's just detail for our viewers a little bit what some of these fees are going to. What are the kinds of things that, say somebody out there walks into a tax preparer, maybe it's a big chain, maybe it's a neighborhood storefront, and they're going to get their taxes done. What can they expect to pay in terms of getting this loan? What's the breakdown?
Well, if we think about it in terms of the loan we were talking about earlier, where it's about $2,100 you're getting back, $2,000 you're getting back, you'd probably pay a little over $100 just for the tax preparation. So let's say $130 or so. You'll pay $100 for the loan itself on top of that. So far you're running over $200, $230 or so. Then you might have to pay an electronic filing fee, which means that the tax preparer is going to send your information by email to the IRS. So that might bring it up to $260. Then they might have other little products, if we mess up your refund, we'll try to help you. We'll try to help you out afterwards. Things like that.
Oh, that's my favorite. It's called the peace of mind
Right.
fee, where you pay them
Right.
so that they basically vouch for the professionalism of their tax preparation.
The work they did in the first place, right?
Little insurance policy for their tax prep. Yeah, so it sounds like there's pieces taken here and there, and I think that it's been interesting to watch this product emerge because the tax prep people who make these loans and the banks that capitalize these loans have found really interesting partnerships. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about some of these ways that some of these so-called fringe bankers have hooked up with each other?
Right. In the last few years, there's all kinds of different partnerships that these tax refund, the banks offering these tax refund loans, and the tax preparers arranging these loans have found other partnerships, third-party partnerships. So they might, for example, you might set up a Jackson Hewitt store inside a rent-a-center. So you can go into the rent-a-center, have your taxes prepared by Jackson Hewitt, pay them all those fees, take out one of these tax refund loans, and then when your money comes back from the IRS, when the money comes back to you, there's already been a bite taken out by the tax preparer and by the bank. And then on top of that, they'll try to make an arrangement so that they'll say, if you come to us and do this, your first month's free. You don't have to pay for your big screen TV or your sofa or whatever it is for 1 month. But then you're already looped into a contract so that these high-cost products are all kind of orbiting around each other.
And you can get your tax refund put on a stored value card, a plastic card with, where it's going to cost you money to get it loaded on. It's going to cost you money each time you use it.
Right.
So it's really quite creative how they found ways to further gouge people in the process. So